Good afternoon, YouTube. It is I, Danielle, better known as Danielle Happy Medium, and welcome back. I hope yous are all well here on a Sunday afternoon. I hope you're not outside enjoying the sunshine. But anyway, getting to this video tutorial or the topic of discussion for today, we're going to talk a little bit about the different types of sitting in the power or meditations, and why so many people get really confused. And I'm going to sort of try and break it down in bite-sized pieces for you here on the channel so you understand a little bit more. Now, I have done a video on sitting in the power versus meditation. I will put that one at the end so you can check that one out. But many people come to me and they'll say, oh, Danielle, I've been doing loads and loads of meditations or loads of sitting in the power, but I don't really feel like I'm getting anywhere, I don't really think it's doing anything. And I say to them, well, what are you doing? And they'll go, well, what do you mean by that? And I'll go, well, what are you doing? Are you just sort of going in and just sort of sitting or what? And the biggest thing I found is most people are going in and they're just relaxing. Even when they're moving the mind, they're just sort of sitting in the power in the spiritual world, but they're not really doing anything. They're just sort of sitting, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're looking to develop yourself as the medium, or you're looking to sort of find them guides, or you want to sort of learn certain said scenarios, then we need to change it up here a little bit. So I'm going to sort of talk through a couple of the different topics that we have, break them down. And I think I've got a couple of sitting in the power techniques on here on the YouTube channel, but I have got a brand new content running across Zoom, which is for free. So that's for people to come along and work within these parameters. So let me talk a little bit about which one we got. So we'll go with relax because we were talking about that one first. So, if you're taking sort of ones off YouTube, or whatever it may be, or, other maybe mediums in the industry, first you've got to ask yourself, what's that meditation or sitting in the power doing? What am I going to gain from it if I do it? And relaxation is great because, we all need to sometimes wind down, or we just sort of need to replenish our sort of stocks of power. Excuse me, they're good. There's nothing wrong with them. They're helpful, and especially when you're sort of being frantic for a few weeks, or you're just needing that bit of downtime. But like I say, that's not really going to help your development. So what we need to start and do is we need to look a little bit more. So we need to start looking at focus. So focus is one of the topics that you should be sort of looking for when you're doing mediumship, sitting in the power, or mediumship meditations. And the reason for these four is focus has a couple of aspects. So it has an aspect to discipline the mind, which is really important as a newbie medium. So if you're doing a double communication, you can stick with just one communicator so you don't get too lost in your stories or your development, or when you're doing communications from the spirit world. Focus also helps you to sort of zoom in just on one specific avenue of the story. So many people who train with me will understand when I talk to them about the story and the different elements of the story, and zoning in on just one area, which we call personal attention. Focusing also helps you to be more aware of where you may be within your mediumship or where you may not, and also focusing helps you to become aware of what's your energy and what's not your energy. They're just some of the understandings of what focus and meditation or sitting in the power can do for you. Then obviously we're going to look at development. Now, development is broken down into a couple of sub-contexts. So development maybe of the clairs, so your clair range, clairvoyance, clairaudience, etc., etc., etc. Then there could be development of an awareness of energy. So again, with a little bit of focus in there, could also have that in as well. Also development of you, the instrument. So we're going to look at how the instrument is working. If the instrument's working to the best of its ability, what can you do to improve the instrument? Then also development of maybe working with the guides, looking at how we work more closely with them, maybe development of holding your connection. So there's lots of subtitles here. So again, you got to be a little bit more monetarian of what it is that you're looking to develop and what you can do within them sitting in the powers or within them meditations in order to develop that specific topic. So then we get down to awareness. So awareness is understanding of energy. awareness of understanding not only mediumistic energy but also psychic energy, and this catches lots of mediums out right at the beginning. And I'm not trying to, say it any differently here. It's just a stance that I found of being a woman who shares knowledge, running coaching circles and this type of thing. There's a great lack of understanding of mediums and when they're working psychically and when they're working mediumistic. And awareness is very important early on in your mediumship, and understanding the differences between them energies, and understanding your differences between your imagery, understanding the differences with the words in which that are produced from the spirit world versus the words that are given you from you in the psychic parameters. And it's still very much an area that people don't develop enough and don't look at enough. So it's always important that if we're going to do awareness ones, again, subtitling what you're doing the awareness for, why is it that it's important, and which areas of awareness do you want to look at. Now, this can sound all very confusing, and I can appreciate that. But you got to get really specific with your mediumship. You got to get down to the nitty gritty, because you don't need to learn everything. And this is a big issue I seem to find with some of my students as well, that you don't need to know everything because you already have some knowledge within you. You maybe have done some development on your own. You maybe, sat in some circles somewhere. You've maybe, done some classes elsewhere, whatever it may be there. So you don't need to learn everything. There's just certain bits and pieces that you have a lack of awareness or a lack of development or a lack of knowledge in. And they should be the areas that you're sort of homing in on there and just looking at. And I think it's really important as you, the budding medium, to get really, clued up about what it is that you feel you're lacking here. Now, you've got to make sure that you're not lacking it in development, and it's a lack within the instrument. So making sure you're developing your instrument is really important too. But lots and lots of people and lots of my students come to me and they do a lot of relaxation meditations, but don't really go much further than that, and then don't know why it is that their mediumship isn't moving forward. And development classes are great, coaching circles, not just mine, but all of them across the whole wide world. It's just as important. But make sure that you're also doing some development of your own, because it gives you an understanding of your mechanics and your mediumship. And make sure when you are sitting, you're sitting for all the right reasons, and you're sitting for the reasons that you need, not just because somebody has pointed in the direction of this particular sitting of power or meditation or whatever it may be there. So I like to talk to you a little bit about these things, because I think there's a lot of confusion out there. I've just I've got the laptop here, and I've just briefly, gone to YouTube and type in meditations, and about 20,000's popped up. And for yous out there in the industry, I'm sure that's really, really confusing. And you'll be looking at them thinking, well, which one do I do? Do you know what I mean? Like, which one is the right one? And I think when you have a little bit more knowledge here, you can sort of home in there a little bit more and go, well, I need to sit in the power focus, or I need to sit in the power development. And actually, when you actually type them words in, it jumps massively down to around about 5,000, 2,000, 5,000, depending on what area you're sitting in. So straight away, you're sort of cutting the garbage out, really. It's really what it's doing is managing your time better, especially for us mediums. We're really busy, we still live in day-to-day lives, and we getting busier all the time as the lockdown's lifting. And I know for myself personally, and other mediums and things I spoke to in the industry. So let's sort of try and zoom in on where areas you want to be and see how that one works for you. And, maybe if you're already doing this, let me know in the comments box. I'd be really interested to hear what you've got to say. If you're still struggling, like I say, and you want the link for the new content in respect to the ones that I'm doing over Zoom, by all means, give me a comment in the comments box, and we'll certainly send you some links there, or we'll give you an email account to get in touch with. So I hope this video has helped some people out there in the industry who's been talking to me quite strongly about this. And hopefully I will see you all next week. And hopefully you like, share and subscribe, and tell your friends all about the channel. And with lots and lots of love for me in the spirit world. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and it's always nice to be over here. And the channel's, just so nice and steady, and I really like it that way, but my life's a lot more steadier these days. Have a great day, and I'll see you all next week. Bye from me in the spirit world. Bye.